Good morning, everyone. This is classwork 21 for week 9. Our objective is that students will be able to represent events by shading appropriate regions in a Venn diagram. Okay, so we are all familiar with Venn diagrams, right? But real quick, as a refresher, that's when we have usually two different events, and then we're going to have this larger box that represents the sample size. Okay, so we're going to have event 1, event 2, and then the entire sample. Okay, that's what our basic Venn diagram is, and we're just going to jump in with our first example. So example 1, we're given these descriptors. It says this Venn diagram represents the following descriptions of a high school. 422 students participate in organized sports but do not play in the band. 31 students play in the band but do not participate in organized sports. And 21 students participate in organized sports and play in the band. 339 students neither participate in organized sports nor play in the band. Okay, so this Venn diagram is representing all those things, right? So if you see, we're going to use S here to represent sports and then B for band. So I'm just going to write those in, sports. And then band is this second circle. And we see 21 students are how many participate in sports and band. So this is the and in the middle. And then 339 students participate in neither. So the total number of students in this study would be all four of these numbers added up. And what we're going to do is just kind of explore this data using these questions. So first question is, how many students participate in organized sports? Okay. Now, what are you thinking first? The first number that my eye goes to is 442, right? But that's just how many people participate in only sports. If we want to know how many participate in sports in general, we're looking at this whole circle. So that would be 442 plus 21. Okay? And that's going to be 463. So 463 total students participate in sports, not just the 442 who only do sports. Okay. Same thing for number 2, how many students play in the band? We might think at first only 31, but we have to include both parts of this circle. So we'll have 21 plus 31, which will be 52. So this is band and sports plus just band, right? Okay. Now we're going to think about how many students do not participate in organized sports. So I've got 442 students that do, and 21 that do, and then 31 that don't, and 339 that don't do band or sports. So we're going to say, okay, 31 do band and not sports, and 339 don't do band and don't do sports. So those would both fit under the not sports category, right? So we can do 31 who do band only plus 339 who don't do band or sports is going to be 370 students. Finally, how many students participate in organized sports or play in the band? Okay, so or you could do sports or band or both. So we can add up all three of these numbers. And in a second, we're going to show you what that looks like in the Venn diagram with the shading. I find the shading so much more helpful when talking about these kinds of situations. So if I add up all three of these numbers, then I get 494. All right? So that's just a little bit of a refresher, hopefully. But let's go into the shading part because that's a little bit more tricky. Okay? So we're going to use a different example now. It's still S and B, but now it's going to be soccer and basketball. So at a high school, some students play soccer and some do not. Also, some students play basketball and some do not. This scenario can be represented by a Venn diagram, as shown below. The circle labeled S represents the students who play soccer. The circle labeled B represents the students who play basketball. And the rectangle represents all the students at the school. On the Venn diagrams provided, shade the region representing the following instances. Okay, so our first scenario is students who play soccer. So we know that S is going to be soccer and B is basketball. So I'm going to write this up here just so we remember. S is soccer, then B is basketball. I'm going to say B-ball. I'm not trying to write all that. Okay. So students who play soccer is going to be at least this one, right? Because this is students who only play soccer. But also, students who play soccer and basketball are going to be included in that. So this whole circle is students who play soccer. All right? For B, students who do not play soccer. That's going to be the opposite of this, right? Because this is students who play soccer. Students who do not play soccer would be everyone else. We call that the complement. So I'm going to shade everything except this circle now. And I'm using a highlighter. When you do this on your own, you're going to have the option to do this online, and you can fill in shapes, or you can use a scribble tool, or you can do this by writing these out on a piece of paper. Okay. So this is everyone who does not play soccer. Notice that I left the soccer circle unfilled. All right. Now we're going to look at students who play soccer and basketball. So we know that soccer is this circle, basketball is this circle. So the students who play both are going to be in the middle here. So this area is covered by both circles, soccer and basketball. And now students who play soccer or basketball means that you could play just soccer, you could play just basketball, or you could play both. If you play soccer or basketball, that includes anyone who plays soccer or basketball. Okay, so that's all the two circles together and their middle area. That's our or statement. Okay, so we've done some shading with our Venn diagrams. That's our first example. And the key thing to notice here is that we're talking about not, and or. Those are going to be our key words in this lesson. Okay, let's do one more example. I think the best way to learn these is just exposure to examples. So example 2, an online bookstore offers a large selection of books. Some of the books are works of fiction and some are not. Also, some of the books are available as ebooks and some are not. Let F be the set of books that are works of fiction and E be the set of books that are available as ebooks. On the Venn diagrams provided, shade the regions representing the following instances. So I'm going to write this at the top again. F is going to be fiction. E is going to be ebooks. Just so I know what's going on. So F is fiction, E is ebooks. They each have their own circle. So this says books that are available as ebooks. Okay, ebooks is going to be all of E, which will be the whole circle. Okay. And if you want to try these on your own, pause the video and then come back to see the answers. B, books that are not works of fiction. Okay, so this is ebooks. This is not works of fiction. So if I know that fiction is this circle, if I'm looking for not works of fiction, that would be everything outside of that circle, right? We're saying not works of fiction. Could include some ebooks, but not all the ebooks. So this is all not works of fiction. Need a better highlighter. Not works of fiction. So not F. Okay. C is books that are works of fiction and available as ebooks. So fiction and ebooks. So if we know fiction is here and ebooks is here, and is going to be the both, the part that has both. Okay? And will be the part that has both. So this needs to have both parts with and. Now, or, books that are works of fiction or available as ebooks means it could have one or the other. So we can shade in the whole circle because this is one or the other, and it includes all of this. One or the other includes the whole circle, both circles. All right. Part E, books that are neither works of fiction nor available as ebooks. So this is going to be a not statement. Not works of fiction and not ebooks means we can't have anything shaded in inside these circles. So we're going to only shade the outside of this diagram. So I guess that would be nonfiction paperback books. I don't know. Or hard copies. Okay. And then finally, books that are works of fiction that are not available as ebooks. Okay, so we're doing fiction and not ebooks. So I know this is the hardest one. My fiction is this circle. And my ebooks is this circle. But I want fiction books and not ebooks. So we're not going to include the part that has ebooks. Just the fiction books that are not ebooks is only this part, because this is fiction books, but this middle would be fiction and they are also ebooks. But if we want not ebooks, then we would have fiction and not ebooks only. Okay? So those are all the examples I have. I feel like I went through that pretty quickly. Please go back and rewatch if you want to. But the key thing to notice here is we're going to have one event. We're going to have not an event. We're going to have an and, which is just the middle, or an or, which is both in terms of an event, okay? And we'll be talking more about and, ors, and nots in the next lesson as well. Okay, please let me know if you have questions.